Fine, we'll discuss about one of the interface. We already discussed on GL interface, right?
Yeah, now we have to discuss about this outbound interface.
We have to discuss about the outbound interface. Outbound interface we did not do.
No, Pankaj. Uh,
Okay.
no, yeah. We have to discuss about outbound.
Okay. UTL file and outbound we did not do practically. Anyways, so we'll discuss about an item interface, which is an inbound. Okay. So basically, when you talk about an inbound interface, you will be getting a data file. You will be writing the control file, and you'll write a PLC call package. So the process is something like you write your inbound interface. That is, you get a data file. Okay, then you write your control file. And using control file, you use SQL loader program and transfer the file. Later, it will be like PLC code. SQL loader program and transfer the file to PLC package and then to interface table. And from interface table, if you run your open interface program, it will go to base tables. So today we'll discuss it. Registration and now we'll do more about so the data file is given like this. Items to load that. This is something like item name. Okay, and then this is also an description, operating unit name, model, and then the process side. So basically, we're discussing about an item interface. Item interface is nothing but importing or transferring the item details. So whenever you transfer the item details, it will just go to inventory module. Okay. So this is just an item name and description part. So item interface will have only item name and item description. That's all, nothing else more than that. And this ATO model, PTO model, this is nothing but called as one of the model name. I mean, assemble to order, pick to order, it is called as. So basically, assemble to order is whatever we take the configuration, whatever we take, like let's say laptop, you can say pick to order. Ready-made product is called as pick to order. Assemble to order is whatever you want, we will be deciding our hardware configuration and all, we will decide and we will take. Let's say desktop, CPU, whenever you're taking, you will tell what memory, how much memory you have to take, what hard disk capacity you're taking, what is the processor, everything. According to your requirement, you will just select the hardware and then assemble it and take it, right? So that is called as ATM model. Like this, we will be having different models in inventory. This model tells you that what kind of item that is, okay? And for every item you will have something called as attributes. So what are attributes is, attributes will tell you like how this particular item can be represented, okay, whether it can be purchased or whether it can be stored or stocked, whether it can be ordered, okay, or whether it is an inventory item or not. Sometimes what happens, it cannot be stored in the inventory. Some goods you will just bring it and sell it, you cannot store it. So that is not a stockable item called as. The same as some goods you will bring it but you cannot purchase it, like sample products or free gifts. Those kind of things you will store in inventory but you cannot sell it, I mean to say. And you do not purchase it also. So that is not called as purchased item or ordered item, I mean sold item. That's a free gift, complement. Okay, complement. Like this attributes, a combination of attributes will tell you what kind of model it is. So that's called as template name. Basically, those are called as templates. So whenever you create an item in inventory, you will be just checking all the attributes, saying that this item is related to this item is related to this. Like this, you will be defining it. So there will be a lot of checkboxes where you have to check. So instead of checking all the checkboxes manually, what they do, they use some templates called as. So templates will help you. Once you select the template, automatically that will check all the checkboxes for that particular related item. Whenever you say assemble to order, you will have some checkboxes to check that will automatically get checked. So it's something like ready-made template which is given, and whenever you select that template while defining an item, that will select all the checkboxes. Those are called as nothing but template names. The template names are given. And to just identify each and every record, we'll just put something called as process ID. When you have huge data, when you have thousands of data, you cannot send all the data at once. Okay, so what you will do is 1 to 500 you will put some number, from 500 to 1000 you will put one number. Like this you will be using that numbers. So that what happens is whenever you're processing it, you will say, okay, batch number or process number of 10. When you say, it will give you only the number of 10, whatever it is there beside the record, that will give you only that record. That record will be uploaded. Now I can just say 108 this way. So what happens is whenever I say 109, only those records will be given. Now we have very less records. Actually, we have only 7 records. So you have huge records, they will be doing like this. So what happens is this will be given as one batch for one time, which will be loading it. It will ask you, like whenever you run your import program, it will ask you which number of process ID is a column there. So which ID you want to run. When I say 109, only these 3 records will be loaded. When I say 108, only these records will be loaded. So just filter the data, and to make it easy to enter the data, what they'll do is they'll do this kind of process. So for that, there's a column called as process ID. And this is the operating unit name. Okay, so all these are the columns. So based on these columns, we can create our interface table or temporary table, which is called as, or you can also create with your interface table. Next is control file, writing a control file. So control file can be written in different ways, like load data. This is a starting command. In file $1. What is this $1? Basically, control file and this data file will be kept in bin folder of a respective module. So in file, you will give the path where exactly your data file is there. So you will give directly your path where exactly your data file is available, and you will write it. Or else, if you want to give that path as parameter, then what you will do is you will say $1. So while registering this program, you will give a parameter, and in that parameter you will pass a path. So whenever you want to pass a path where that particular data file is there, you can just write it. I'll show you how to give a path also. Okay, you will give that $1. Okay, into table this table, staging table. into table. Staging table is nothing but called as insert into staging table. Okay. Then fields terminated by comma. It means separation will be like between the data, the fields termination will be comma. Optionally enclosed by single quotes. Whenever you have any single quotes data also, just give this. Okay. And the column names, item name, description. I told you, right? Organization name, template name, set process. Right? The column names you'll give it in an order. Whatever the column names you have, these column names. Okay. This is one way of writing a control file. The other way is you can also say load data in file, say star. Whenever the file is already available in the same location, what you will do is you will just write, this is the data file, right? This part. Above this file itself, if you write this one, in data file itself, you can just write the control file syntax and you can register this. So what happens is you don't need to give any path, anything. Load data in file star was it will refer below into table. By default, it will take insert. You don't need to give insert also. Okay. Fields separated by comma, optionally enclosed by column names. Okay. From here, you say begin data keyword and just the data is already here. This is one of the process. The other process I'll show you is you can give like this load data in file. You can give the path where exactly your data file is available. Okay, insert into table, optionally enclosed by fields terminated by and the column. The different ways, like if you want to give a path, you'll write $1. If in the data file itself, if you're writing a control file, you can just give in file star. If the control file is written separately, you can give a path. So all this process can be followed. So this is item interface, and once this is done already, well, once the data is in staging table, next program is to write your PL/SQL package. So PL/SQL package is to validate the data and send to the interface table. This PL/SQL package we will discuss tomorrow, because the method what we wrote is basically we have used advanced PL/SQL. So that will be confusion. I'll write this code in simple way and I'll show you. So as I said, like we have to discuss an outbound. We'll discuss outbound interface. So data file, whatever we are getting, that is nothing but called as an outbound. So basically client will be doing an outbound and will be giving this. So whenever you want to do an outbound, what you will do is it is simple select statement. So let's say select, like whatever I said, like right now the data file what we are talking about is items, right? Basically it is from MDL system item underscore B. This is the table. So to this table only we will be sending the data. Okay, here column names are something like segment 1, organization, ID. Creation date. Okay, something like this instead of one I'll set it. So I just want some data like this. And this should be concatenated with comma. I'm just giving an alias name so that it will give one column. So this is the data. Simply, I can just write select and comma separator. So the comma separator will tell that each and every comma separator is one of the column. Same thing, instead of just writing a select statement and exporting the data, I can do this, but I can't give this to a user saying that, hey, you go and write a select statement, right? This has to be given as a program. So if it has to be given as a program, then what I have to do is I have to put this in a procedure. Create or replace procedure. Test underscore screen outbound as cursor, and I'm just giving this. For variable in cursor loop and loop. Okay, so as I just want to print it, what I'll do, dvms output dot put underscore line of v dot process underscore data. This is a procedure. I'll just create this. To test this, I'll say begin and end. Process underscore data. To execute this and the procedure name is test underscore outbound. So you'll get the data like this. So this can be copied in a data file. Save it in data file and you'll get it. But then dbms underscore output is a command which will be used only on the console, on the screen, when you want to print it. It's a database command, and only SQL can identify on the console. I mean, tools like Toad, SQL Developer, all this. But if you want to print the same thing in a Particle application, then we have a command called as fnd underscore file dot output. Fnd underscore file dot put underscore line. Okay, fnd underscore file dot output, comma, it is just developed. So just created. In the same way, whenever you want to register a procedure, normally when you want to print this in Oracle application, what we need to do, we have to just register this in an Oracle application as a control program. So if you want to register this as a control program, basically we registered Oracle report, wherein we have a mandatory parameter called as pconf request ID. So whenever you want to register an Oracle report, that's a mandatory parameter, right? In the same way, whenever you want to register an outbound program or any PSQL procedure in Oracle application, we have some mandatory parameters similar to pconf request ID. We have some mandatory parameters which are called as your two outbound parameters, which are called as request parameters, which is p.
Hello?
Hello? You can hear me, right? Hello? Anyway, so we have some mandatory parameters, as I said. So those parameters are called as p underscore error buff, that is an out parameter, varchar p underscore red code out varchar 2. Okay. The names can be anything. Basically, naming convention is used like p underscore error buff and p underscore red code. Okay, that can be used any name you can use. So basically, these two are the out parameters and mandatory parameters whenever you want to register a PSQL procedure. But then, why do we need these two parameters? Whenever you write any SQL code, SQL syntax or SQL code will give you two values whenever you do a mistake or error. Error code and error message, which is called as error code, is something basically called as SQL error code, like aura -1042, something like no data found, right? Some kind of error you will be getting. In the same way, you will be getting some of the error message like no data found. So you will be any SQL issues when you get two things. One is is error code and error message. But whenever you do the same SQL and Oracle application, if it has to throw that errors, there should be someone to receive those errors. So that's the reason error buff is basically to receive the error message, description kind of message, and ret code is to receive the Oracle error code, which is nothing but the Aura 105 whatever else. But basically it is not only 1052 something number, it is Aura hyphen 1052 or hyphen 1042 or something like that. You have 1011 like that. Some of the standard error numbers, basically based on the numbers we can identify this is the error. So it also gives the description below and on the side. So to hold those two values, error code and error buffer, we will be writing these two parameters. So once you are done with this compilation, what we can do is we can register our PL/SQL procedure. So to register a PL/SQL procedure, go to your control program, that is application developer, or you can also do with your system administrator. And the same sample outbound. Short name should not be with space. I'm just giving underscore application, let's say inventory. Instead of Oracle report, what we'll do, we'll select PL/SQL procedure, and here we'll give the name, file name, which is nothing but test underscore outbound. The file, the procedure name, what we have compiled. Okay, and so if you remember Oracle report, whenever we are doing it, the first part what we used to do is we used to design our report, we used to test it, everything, and then we used to transfer to a particular location. Now here it is not required because PL/SQL procedure, whenever you are doing it will always check whether that procedure is compiled in the database or not. It will always read from the database. So if it is compiled, that's enough. You don't need to copy anywhere. So copy the short name of the executable. And here also I'll say sample outbound. Sample short name inventory executable, and format I can put just text or anything and save this. Now you can just copy this to a request group from which responsibility you want to run. Basically all the control programs will be under view request, right? So if you want to see your program also under that view request, you should copy this program to a request group. Basically all the content programs are assigned to request group. Now to assign to a request group, you don't have an option here in application developer. You need to go to system administrator. In system administrator, from which responsibility you want to run this. Basically this is inventory, but we don't have an inventory responsibility, but we can always run it from any responsibility. In my user, I have purchasing supervisor responsibility, so I can run from purchasing supervisor responsibility. So if you want to run from purchasing supervisor responsibility, what you need to do, you need to identify the request group of purchasing supervisor. So go to responsibility screen, purchasing supervisor. Query this. The request group here is all reports. So it is all reports purchasing. So what you can do is you can go to request group. Level. All reports. Application purchase. Here you can add your program, which is nothing but test underscore. Sorry. What did I do? Sample. The program name is sample outbound, right? Save this and go to purchasing superior responsibility. And submit this. So you can see the outbound. You say data and you can copy it. Just say file, save as. Basically this is saved as dot file, right? DAT tag. You can save it. Did we do this program process out program as an outbound example? So this is like sample outbound, and when we say view output, you will get it. Apart from this, we can also do one more method, like which is called as UTL file method. And outbound, we have another program called as UTL file method. Basically, now when you say view output, you're seeing the data. You have to click on file and save it, and then it will be saved into file. Rather than that, in case if you want to write that into a file directly, when a PLC program is executed, that has to write into a file itself. So if you want to do something like that, you have something called as UTL file method. UTL file method in this, it's nothing but UTL package. You have a program called, you have a PLC package called as UTL underscore file, which is given by Oracle. And it has some set of commands. It will just create a file, it will open that file, it will write the data into that file, and then it will close it. So using those commands, whenever we want to do any program like that, what you will do is you will use UTL file package, and you have to use those commands, which will write directly into a file, whichever the file name you specified and whichever the path you specified. So in that path, it will automatically write a file and it will save it, and that too in the Unix folder, something like this. Now bin is one of the folder, right? So you can just write it in bin directly and you can put it. But then whenever you want to write it in a common shared Unix folder, if you want to write the data and store it in a file, as a file if you want to write it, you have some path which are registered, okay, and you can write only in that path. You can't just write like in C colon my computer and all. You can't write it in your directory. So for that, what we have is we have v underscore dollar parameter is the table where name like you'll have UTL percent. So these are the paths what we have. Okay, B01, EBS, BB test, okay, 1 and 02 like this. But then this path is actually not working. So let me check with this path once again and then come back to you. I remember we have tried this. These are the registered paths. We have to write only in this path. But this path is not available here. The path, the register shows something and it shows here something else. B01 ABS. Okay. So let me check with this path and then we'll do UTL file tomorrow. I know we started late, but then let's do one more topic. So UTL file we'll do tomorrow, and then later we will do inbound. The PSQL code what I told you, like for item interface, we will do that. Before that, we have a small topic called as the request group. I've sent some files to Chaitanya, like I think he might have sent you, right? Some of the files. Nibali?
Yeah, Venkat.
You got the files from Chaitanya?
Yeah,
Some of the
I got
files I
that.
sent.
Yeah, I got them.
In that you have something called as P2P.
Okay. Procure to pay.
Procure to pay. I think you already did a functional course. You're saying just go through the technical flow of P2P. We'll discuss that later.
Okay.
So whenever you have some time.
Yeah, sure.
So that will tell you in procure to pay what is the flow and what are the tables will get affected and what are the joins and sample queries you have.
Okay.
So outbound you have two methods. One is a normal method, traditional method. The other one is which is called as UTL file method. So UTL file method we will see tomorrow. Okay. I'm not sure the path shows the registered path. As I told you, have to take that path, but it is not working actually. So I'll just check with the DBA and then I'll let you know that tomorrow. And one more thing is like inbound. Inbound also, once the outbound is completed, then we'll start inbound also. Item interface, we will do it. Now, for now, we will do something called as a request group and table registration. These two topics. Okay, we have something called as a request group. Whenever you submit here, if you notice, like when you say view request and submit new request, you'll have request, single request and request set. Okay, not request group, request set. Request set. So basically, single request is something like you just submit one single request. The request set is a combination or a couple of programs when you try to submit at once, it is called as a request set. So when you want to submit something like that, if you have to create a request set first. Go to system administrator, here you'll have request and set. Okay, you can just add some programs here. Let's say sometimes what happens is we want to create or we want to submit a couple of programs, a batch of programs we have to submit it. So every day instead of submitting each and every program individually, what we do is we try to club all these programs as a batch and then we try to submit it. So for that what we do is we create a request set. So basically a request set is nothing but a collection of programs, connecting programs, where you can bind them and you can submit as a batch. Club them in, submit as a batch. So to create a request set, let's go to request set wizard. That will help us in understanding while creating a request set what are the options available for us and easily understand like which option is processed, what useful and that. The request set wizard can be used quickly to create new request set. Request set in the set can all run sequentially or run in parallel. How would you like the request in your new set to run sequentially or in parallel? Basically, I said collection of programs, right? Couple of programs, you can just club them. So there are two programs. So it is asking while creating a request set, and when you submit a request set, you want to submit the programs or run the programs when you submit it. Let's say you're submitting some 3 or 4 programs. Okay. So you want to run one after the other once it is completed, or parallelly you want to submit all at once. Okay, basically sequentially we'll say, or parallel, anything we can say. I'm just saying sequentially, one after the other. What would you like to set to do when a request ends with a status error? Let's say you have 2 programs. The first program is completed with an error. You want to continue with the second program submission, or you want to stop. Sometimes what happens, there will be dependencies on programs. So at that time what we need to do is, once the first program is successful, then only the second program has to be completed. It means, let's say you have master-child relation table, and then you're inserting some data in master table, and then you want to insert it in the child table. If the data is not inserted successfully in master table, you don't want to insert in child table. So in that cases, you will say abort process. So now I'm just saying continue process because this is only 2 programs what I'm submitting which are not related to each other. Okay, I'll say if the first program is not successfully completed, also I just want to continue submission of second program. So I'll say next. I'm just giving here reports some name, and I'll be submitting this program for purchasing. So I'm just giving purchasing because we have that responsibility, right? Reports. Now here it is asking, when would you like your request output files to print? After all the programs are completed, or if each of the programs is completed, you want to see it? I just want to see for each and every request when it is completed. I don't want to wait until all the programs are completed. So now here you can add your programs. We have something called a sample outbound, right? Sample outbound. Something called as process. User detail report. Your request has been created, and if you want to change any features or any other options, you can always go to request set and you can do this. So request set is created as a name with reports, application is purchasing, and owner is a demo 1-to-1. It is created on source rate. Until you end it, you can use this request set. Okay, run options, print together and allow incompatibility. Print together is you want to select both the programs to print at a time. Output, then you can select. But we have said that no, you don't want to print together. You want to see each and every request once it is completed. Now, to understand how actually this report set works, like whatever your options we have seen there, we can just come here and see some options here. Click on define stages, it will show you. It will just give you a sequential number 10 and 20, sample outbound is 10, and user detail report is 20. So based on the sequence, it will just execute the first one 10 as sample outbound and then the user detail report. If you want to see some details about this program, you can just click on request. It will show you this is a program, sample outbound. This is related to inventory. And if you have any parameters, you can just click on this, it will show you. I mean, this is something like if you want to just check with the details of the concurrent program, what exactly the program is, which application it is related to, does it has any parameters, all these are things you can just check here. So this has two parameters, the role number and user ID. So this will tell you the stages. You don't need to do anything, you have to just check. I'm just showing this. This is important. This will tell you how it is working. So the sequence number is 10, sample outbound. Here we have three things: success, warning, error. It means it has given it number 10 here also, sample outbound 10. If sample outbound 10 is success, then it will call user detail report 20. If sample outbound is ended with a warning, then also it will call user detail report. If the sample outbound 10 is ended with an error, then also it will call user detail report. You remember we selected an option, it was asking in case the program has been aborted, do you want to continue with the next program or do you want to stop it? We said no, I would like to continue with the second program submission. I'm not dependent on the first program, though it is success or failure. I just want to continue with my second program. This is where it creates a links saying that success, warning, error. In any case of this program, you submit a second program. Let's say we want to say no, if the program is successful only, then it has to submit the second program. Then we have to remove these. Okay, warning and error. It means sample outbound, if it is success, then only it will call the user detail report. So we can modify like this. So manually we can do all this, but as we have result, I'll show you over there. So now what you can do is, you can always run a request set from view request, as I showed you single request, and there we have a request set, we can just select it. Or you can also run from here. Just a minute. The same window will be called. So you will say reports. So it will list out what are the programs you are going to submit it. Okay, right now this current program doesn't have any parameters, so it is free out here. But this program has a parameter. So you can just say the parameters here and submit it. In case if you want to schedule a program also, you can schedule it. Submit it. And say no. Now if you see here, view request. Sample outbound is completed. Once it is completed, the next program is called as report. Set. So it will call one more program called as user details. So we have submitted report set, reports which is report set, and then it has called sample outbound program. This sample outbound program is completed, and then the next program is called user detail report. And until this is completed, this will be in a state of pause. And once this is normal, this will be completed. It means a request set has called these two reports, and request set has one request ID. Okay, this request ID will be referred as a parent request ID for these two child programs. Each and every request will have a request ID individual, but this parent request ID. By this you can, why I'm explaining you this is, by this you can understand this, like whenever you see any programs like this, and beside when you see a parent program, parent number something, you can always identify this parent request ID here and see, okay, these two programs are submitted from this request, something like that. Okay, this is something called as a request set. You can always submit a program and you can schedule it in case when you want to schedule a program. Let's say you want to run this program, you want to run every day alternatively, or every day or every hour something you want to run it, some program. So what you can do is you can just say user detailed report. The user detailed report will be submitted by this program will be submitted from purchasing responsibility, in fact. But let's try from here also. It won't be in system administrator because that has been added to purchasing responsibility. Click on schedule, it will ask you here. By default, it will be as soon as possible. Whenever the request, the request will be in queue. Whenever you have submission, it will just submit whenever you submit the program. When you select, if you want to schedule it, then you say once run at 10th March 2014. Means again it will run only on that particular date. Okay, only on this particular date. If you specify anything, there are also particular time once it will do. If you want to do periodically, here you have start date on 10th March, and let's say I want to run this program for 10 days. I'll just put end date. Let's say I want to continue this program like this for every day or every hour or something, but I'm giving a start date and end date I'm not mentioning, so that until I stop it, it will just continue. Here we have, whenever you say periodically, you have options. Run every day, every week, every month, every hour. Let's say, for now to test it, I'm just showing you every minute. We won't actually execute it anytime and every minute. Here we have intervals from the start of the previous run, from the completion of the previous run. So when you want to submit this program every minute, once the program is completed, the first request is completed, after the completion of the program you want to start it, or from the start, from the submission of, you want to count it. Every minute, this is how you want to count it every minute. Now the program is submitted. From there onwards you want to count it in a minute. Or the program is submitted, it will take some time to complete it, right? After completion you want to count it as a minute. Okay. In case you have any parameters for this program as a date parameter, so let's say on this date I'm just submitting this program and I have a date parameter. You want to continue the day parameter every day. So let's say I have one program where I'll be giving the system date, today's date. Tomorrow when I submit the program, I have to give tomorrow's date. So in case if I have to give something like that, do you want me to continue giving that date, increment the date parameter for each hour it is asking. So if you have a date parameter or something, you can do this. You have another option here, on specific days. You specifically select on 1st of every month, on 26th of every month, or on Tuesday of every week, something like this. Then you can also specify like that. Let's remove, and let's continue. So like this, you have different options to schedule a program. I'm just saying so you can submit it. Let's see, user detail report. it's 717, right? Once the moment it is 718, it will submit one more program. See how many times it has submitted. We are not clicking on request to see that. So we had only here user detail report, right? After this, it has submitted almost 2 times. Now it has been submitted third time. So keep clicking on refresh, you'll continue. So if you want to cancel this request, what you can do is you can just cancel this request. So now if you click on view details here, run the job periodically starting from 10th March. So go here, schedule, make this as soon as possible. Okay. So what we cancel it, so it will not show anything. So this is how the programs are scheduled, request set or kind of programs. If you click on view details, we know view output and view log, it will show you the details. View output is output and view details, view log is log, any errors, issues. So this will show you whether it is a scheduled program or you can see here scheduled program, what is the priority. This is 50th, it is given as 50th as number as priority because before this 49 programs are in the queue to submit it. Requested date, when it has been completed, what is the language, when it is submitted, what is the phase now it is completed, status, what is the status, who has submitted this request, what is the parameter, from which operating unit this program has been submitted. All these details it will be when you click on it. And you can also go for some other options like what are the options available for here. Okay. This is a user detail template name and the format is PDF. Basically this is an XML publisher report, right? So it will show you the layout name and all. And delivery options here also. If you want to send this report to someone, then you can send the email, fax, FTP and all you can do. So all these options it will tell you in the request. I'm just trying to explain the request window here, SRS window, standard request submission window. Refresh data will just refresh like your submissions. You can just see the latest ones. Find request from here again if you want to submit one more request, you can see. Here you can see always my completed request if you want to find out and the number of days will be 7. Okay. And then my request in progress, all my requests. Specific request, if you know any request ID, you can just give the request ID or name or when it has been submitted, when it has been completed, in what status. Let's say you want to see all the scheduled programs. Okay. So scheduled programs and save a file. It will show you what are the scheduled programs. These are the scheduled programs which are running in the background. Okay. So something like this. So basically submit request window is something like that. Submit a new request. Diagnostics. Whenever you want to see any program, when it has been started, where it will be ending it. Okay. And what is the status right now? It is in pending status and all. Diagnostic tells you the details, what it is, in which state it is right now. Okay, the details. So this is an SRS window. And as I told, we have something called as table registration. And we know that Oracle already supports some of the tables module wise, like given each and every module has its own tables. Now let's say you want to create one more table of your own table, which is called as custom table. And you want to use that table for a report purpose, or on top of that table you want to create a form or something. Anytime when you create a custom table, that has to be registered in Oracle application. Until you register it, that will not be recognized in Oracle application database schema, and you cannot create anything on top of that. So for that we have a small command called as ad_db. It gives you two commands which is called as register table and register column. As the number of columns you have in your table, each and every column has to be registered. So I have another class now, availability. So we'll continue tomorrow. Registration, outbound, inbound, whatever left topics are there, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay. So I'll just stop the session for today here, and we'll continue tomorrow.